Hello and welcome to the GreenBiz 26 live stream, coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm Jake Mitchell with Trellis Group, the organizers of GreenBiz, and I'm pleased as always to welcome you and fellow listeners from around the world for this live stream. We have a really special keynote for you today, but before we get into that, I just want to note that being here at this conference right now, as the room is filling up, the energy is buzzing. I think the anticipation of this conversation is really high, and it's a unique keynote program that I don't think we've ever done before, at least not in my time here. And what it is, it's an Oxford-style debate. And the question on the table that two sides of debaters will be tackling and arguing points are, is the Chief Sustainability Officer role now irrelevant? It's a big question, and we have amazing debaters to unpack arguments on both sides and try to help us make sense of this moment that we find ourselves in sustainability, where we're facing headwinds and things are more challenging, and it forces us to be more adaptable, creative, and find solutions. So that's really the point of this debate today, to sit with the tension and understand both sides so we can craft language strategies to meet the moment. We have a great cast on stage today. We have two moderators. One is my friend and chairman of Trellis Group, Joel McCower. We also have Sophie Lambin, founder and CEO of Kite Insights. And then we have a jury of three who will be weighing in towards the end and offering what they heard. But ultimately, the winner of the debate today will be decided by the audience. To make it a little bit spicier too, a little bit more interesting, we have our favorite climate comedian on the ground with us, Stuart Goldsmith, to offer his hot takes on what he heard from the debaters. But some things I expect we might hear today for the side that the CSO is irrelevant. I expect we'll hear that the role hasn't evolved with the complex challenge of today. Too caught in the weeds of reporting and frameworks, less on action and capital allocation. And then the against that, yes, the role is still essential, is that the world actually is more complex now. And we need sustainability the sustainability teams to reach long-term goals. We need them to keep teams accountable and to keep leaders essentially in that long-term vision rather than quarterly earnings. So obviously there'll be a lot more said. It'll be pretty juicy. So I encourage you, as you listen, write down things that might have surprised you, that you might have found pretty interesting, things that you want to look into more later. Again, this debate is meant for us. It might be provocative, we might disagree with things, but it's meant for us to help sharpen our communications toolkit and ultimately our strategy, how to win over teams and leadership to progress our sustainability goals. Beyond the keynote today, we have a really great live stream program for you. I'll be your host today and tomorrow. Right after the debate today, we'll have the co-founder of Watershed, Taylor Francis, will be joining me to talk a little bit about his work, but more about his reactions about where he thinks the role of sustainability and CSOs are going, and also his reactions to the debaters today. After that, we'll have a series between today and tomorrow with incredible sustainability leaders using innovation as a tool to hit sustainability goals. That'll be a theme throughout. So don't go anywhere. Really excited to have you here with us. Enjoy the debate, have your notebook out with you, and we'll see you soon.
Please welcome to the stage Chairman and Co-founder, Trellis Group, Joel McCower.
Hey, everybody. So, how was your 2025? It's a serious question. How was your 2025? Not your company's year, not your sustainability team's year, your year. Show of hands. How many of you would say you had a satisfying, successful, impactful year as a sustainability professional? Oh, so pretty much everybody. Great. No, there's about, I'd say about 20% of you think that. And how many of you would say it was frustrating and exhausting? Maybe at times sort of like a 24/7 stress test. And how about somewhere in between? A little progress, a little whiplash, maybe a newfound appreciation for, adult beverages. It's a strange and interesting time to be doing this work. 2 years ago at GreenBiz 24, we were celebrating momentum, real commitments, real capital, real progress. Last year, we were looking at each other and saying, what the heck is going on? Although, to be honest, that was the polite way we were doing this. But this year, both are true. Progress continues, so does retreat. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or maybe it's the other way around for you. I see somebody back there doing this. I think it means 3 steps back, perhaps. I'm so sorry. Either that or, maybe it's I love you. I don't know. But whatever it was, we're in this interesting moment. It's a confusing, confounding time, which makes this a good time not just to do what we always do, which is to power through, but also to pause and ponder. What does it mean to be a sustainability professional in 2026? What, if anything, should we be doing differently? And asking the quiet part out loud, the awkward part, is my job still having a tangible impact? Are we becoming outmoded? We're going to, in a few minutes on this stage, we're going to be debating that last question for the sustainability profession as a whole. But for now, ask it for yourself. Is my job still having a tangible impact? If so, how? And by the way, mazel tov. If not, why not? And if the answer is, well, somewhere in between, that's worth exploring too, because the challenges aren't going away, but the profession is changing, whether we want it to or not. So if we learned anything in 2025, we learned that the way we talk about sustainability and climate, the arguments, the talking points, just aren't landing the way they used to. There's so much misinformation, myths, misunderstanding, disinformation out there. The public has a lot of other concerns. Not us, of course. We only have certain concerns. But people are concerned about a lot of other things. Investors seem to have moved on, at least by virtue of the questions they're asking on investor calls. Activists and antagonists keep throwing whatever they can at us. And by the way, as you all know, anything short of perfection is, by definition, greenwash, right? And amidst all this, the business case, such as it ever was, is increasingly harder to make, or at least increasingly harder for others to hear. That's particularly an inconvenient moment, particularly if you've spent the last few years convincing the C-suite to sign off on things that were complicated, costly, or took time to show results. So, here we are. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of some resentment. There's increasing challenges, disappointment. But there's also resolve. There's also resolve because you're still here, and that matters. My friend and podcast co-host Solitaire Townsend likes to tell us that there's a moment in every great story when the hero is up against it. Enemies are closing in, resources are few, allies are scarce, the sky darkens, the plot thickens. From Hamlet to Joan of Arc, Nelson Mandela to Erin Brockovich, Frodo Baggins to Katniss Everdeen, it's a narrative arc that's persisted for centuries. It's basically the middle of the story. That's where we are in sustainability, the middle of the story. Yeah, our hero is surrounded, the enemies are closing in, the public is less engaged, budgets are cut, all sorts of things are happening. And oh yeah, the Texas State Attorney General is holding on line 3. But it's not the end of the story, not by a long shot. It's only the middle. The other thing we hear from Soli is that the hero of the story almost never succeeds by herself. There are friends, allies, sidekicks, veritable strangers who participate in a successful outcome. And so, yeah, we know sustainability is a team sport. We all know that, as I like to say. There is no I in sustainability. I think that's right. But it's important that we keep in mind, as she says, that the most powerful stories show us that transformation comes not from solitary strength, but from a shared purpose in community. That shared purpose is what makes this community so incredibly important and impactful and powerful. Here's another thought. We tend to think of progress as a straight line. But history has a way of not really cooperating. So, the Revolutionary War that took place after the signing of the Declaration of Independence from Britain in 1776 was not declare, fight, win. For years, it was lose, lose, lose. New York fell, Philadelphia fell, Savannah, Charleston, money ran out, food, medicine, morale plummeted. Up in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, 2,000 of George Washington's Continental Army died from malnutrition or disease. Lose, lose, lose. But then came Yorktown in 1781, when the Continental Army defeated the British for the first time. It wasn't the end of the war, but it was a turning point. Lose, 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 win. And while we may look at that, and particularly in American history books, and view that as that victory as inevitable, there was nothing preordained about that outcome. So sustainability is kind of like that too now. Commitments rolled back, regulations canceled, ESG weaponized against us, climate change declared a hoax again. Lose, lose, lose. But the underlying challenges haven't gone away. Climate change does not read the public opinion polls. Biodiversity has never read Project 2025. Microplastics and forever chemicals are deeply uninterested in our partisan political squabbling. So the question may not be where we are in the story of sustainability. It's how do we write the next chapter? Because nothing is preordained. One way forward may be to make the work that we do bigger. Let me explain. Dwight Eisenhower, America's 34th president, whose administration spanned both the economic expansion, the post-war boom after World War II, the growth of the automobile and the suburbs and all of that, and also the nuclear standoff with the Soviet Union, the Cold War. Eisenhower once said, "Whenever I run into a problem I can't solve, I always make it bigger." What does that mean? Well, rather than looking at transportation, commerce, and defense as individual problems to solve, he saw them as one integrated solution set and created the Interstate Highway and Defense System. When the Soviet Union beat the United States into orbit, He could have looked at it as a national failure. Instead, he saw it as a science education challenge and scaled the response to every school kid in America. I know, I was one of those kids. That's the kind of thinking we need to be doing as sustainability professionals. Because the goal shouldn't be cutting emissions. It should be redesigning business for a decarbonized, electrified future. It shouldn't be supplier codes of conduct. It should be building resilient, trusted value networks your company needs to succeed. And it shouldn't be a circular economy. It should be seizing strategic materials advantage to create operational resilience. That's the kind of thinking we need to be doing as a sustainability community, as sustainability professionals. That's how we go from tweaking processes to designing new systems. We make it bigger. Or consider climate risk. In 2026, it is hardly just a sustainability issue. It's a finance issue, an operations issue, a social license to operate issue. Climate risk shows up in asset valuation, business continuity, credit ratings, fuel costs, insurance, logistics, M&A, product design, real estate, sales and marketing, supply chains, and about a dozen other things, human resources. That's not sustainability becoming irrelevant. That's sustainability being inextricably woven into the fabric of business. So, how do we want to show up in that moment? What are the opportunities that climate risks unlocks for you and your team? For example, how does it map to affordability or adaptation or resilience? And knowing all this, are you going to continue doing the things you already do? What could we be doing differently? And also, what could you stop doing that maybe isn't creating that kind of value? Which brings us to why we're here. GreenBiz has always been about much more than simply tools and techniques and technologies and best practices. It's always been about community, about helping one another stay in the game when the narrative turns sour and the going gets rough. It's about helping each of us do better this year than last year, whatever the odds. So, if you're feeling frustrated, join the club. If you're needing a dose of optimism and hope and maybe therapy, you've come to the right place. If you're trying to figure out where to go next, you will find a lot of fellow travelers here in this room. We are not losing. We're learning. We're in the middle of a story, and we get to write the next chapter because nothing is preordained. I want to end with two words you all probably don't hear often enough. Thank you. Thank you to those who were told that an innovative idea or project or initiative couldn't work or shouldn't work, but you went ahead anyway because you knew that it was important to try. Thank you to anyone who was told to wait till after the downturn, the election, the next quarterly earnings report, but you knew that waiting was itself a choice you didn't want to make. Thank you to anyone who absorbed criticism, pushback, eye-rolling, and responded not by getting quieter, but by leaning in and standing tall. And thank you all for being here. Still doing the hard work, still learning, still moving forward, still shaping what comes next, right here in the middle of the story. And with that, my friends, welcome to GreenBiz 26.
Please welcome to the stage, Vice President, Sustainability, Trellis Group, Katie Ryan.
gosh, it feels so good to be at GreenBiz here with everybody. Before we dive in, I just want to acknowledge what it took to get here. Not like here, but like here. Like the negotiations that you had to step away from your desk or to step away from your home, the flights, the traffic, the outfits, the packing, the snacks, everything it takes to get here. If you're tuning into our live stream, like, thank you for being present and popping the popcorn that got you ready for tonight's main stage. We could just not be happier to have you. I am so, so happy that you are here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also just wanted to say, like, I kind of walked into this event feeling very lucky. There's just like a couple of things that have been happening for me that just feel lucky. And I hope that that has made its way to you as well, because it's one of those things where, you know, you want the world to be a better place, and a lot of us have to do that on like just a Saturday or in the evening. But it's a part of our jobs. Like, it's a performance metric for you to be making the world better. And that's really special. That doesn't happen for everybody. And it is one reason that I really love being at GreenBiz, because we all want the person next to us to be successful. You know, it's like, look at the person next to you and you are like, please achieve. Like, what do you need me to do? I want you to succeed. And that just doesn't happen in every room, but it happens here. And speaking of luck, it's really important that our sponsors have showed up again and again and again for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you to our foundational sponsors. Amazon is not only one of our foundational sponsors, but is also sponsoring the water program. Make sure you filter the program for the water program, because it is outstanding. Thank you also to the Walton Family Foundation, also a foundational partner of ours. We are so lucky to have you. Take a look at the names on these slides. You probably work for this organization, or you partner with this organization, or this person is in your supply chain, or you wish that they were. Like, these are the people who are showing up for GreenBiz. They are here to show up for the work that we are doing. We could not do this event without them. Thank you very much. We have a number of partners who show up for us in a variety of ways also. They help put on events that coincide. They help us find great speakers. They're really, just like it says, convening partners of ours. We're really deliberate about who we pick, and we thank you so much for showing up for us. We have a number of other partners as well, and like, we need you, so thank you. I also just want to shout out a couple of things. If you want to get really wonky, make sure to find yourself in that advanced perspectives room. There's a session for every track, and it goes super wonky. We don't do any setup. It's just like right into the meat. So make sure you find yourself in one of those. Also, a shout out to our 30 under 30s. I think you guys are sitting together. Where are my 30 under 30s? Yeah, they're in the front row. Of course they are. Because if you want to achieve, you come to the front. So thank you so much. It's great to have you here. We have so many special people who are on the stage today. Today we're really doing the debate as our main course. Tomorrow you'll get a lot of the enjoyable, heavy-hitting fireside chats and stand and delivers that you are used to seeing on our main stage. And so I can't wait to welcome you back tomorrow. But for now, we're going to focus on the debate, and who better to do a warm-up than our beloved, famous climate comedian, Stuart Goldsmith. Please welcome to the stage, Stuart.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure and an honor to be back with you again here at GreenBiz. My name's Stuart Goldsmith. I'm a climate comedian and apparently the unofficial GreenBiz court jester. Lovely to be back. You may remember last year I wrote a joke specifically for you. The joke was this: it can't be told at any other event that I perform at. The joke is this: how many members of the sustainability team does it take to change a light bulb? The answer being, of course, 1, which is good luck because there is only one member of the sustainability team. I remind you of that only because 2026, I've rewritten the joke. It has a new ending. Would you like to hear it? How many members of the sustainability team does it take to change a light bulb? The answer being 1, but we no longer call it changing a light bulb. Now it's called darkness risk impact management. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlefolk, I require, by way of a warm-up game, we're going to play a little game about listening. It's a game about listening and responding and collaboration. We're all going to play it together, but I do need 2 of you to be helpers. So would you please raise a hand if you would like to volunteer to come up here and help me? Thank you. We'll take you, please, and you. Yes, if you could join us up here, let's give them a warm round of applause. They're going to be heroic on all of our behalfs. If you come round... Are there stairs? Oh, there's stairs. I'm so sorry. I should have worked out where the stairs are. So if you come up here, I'm going to explain the game. It's called Dolphin Training. One of these players is going to be our dolphin, and one of them is going to be a helper. I feel like you've got dolphin energy. Hi. Your name is Stormy. Hello, Stormy. And you're... Clausel. Okay, so come, let's get you in the middle here so we can see you. The way this game is going to work, and we're all going to play it... Clausel is going to stand over there, face away from us, cover your eyes. Do that for us now, thank you, no peeking. Stormy is we're going to take this chair, and you are going to assume and adopt some sort of pose on or near the chair. Could be anything you like, could be under it, on top of it, around it, whatever you like. And then in a moment, we'll ask Clausel to unblindfold, and he is going to attempt to find and duplicate the position on the chair that Stormy is giving us when she's gone, and he's only going to be helped by your applause when he's getting warmer. That's how the game works. With me so far? Try and make it replicable, Stormy. You look like you're about to do something acrobatic. Oh my God. All right, well, this should be easy. So, thank you very much. Come off for us, please. Thank you, Stormy. Let's give Stormy a round of applause. You can stand over here at the side for us. Clausel, you may now look round, and you have to try and physically represent the shape that Stormy made on the chair. The only clue you have is we will clap if you're getting warmer and stop clapping if you're getting colder. Over to you. Very close. What can a man do with his arms? You're doing so well. You're doing so well. Give us... We might need a few more options. Let's give us some more. We need some more leg offers. Some leg offers, Clausel. Thank you so much, Clausel, everybody, and Stormy, thank you. You can leave this way safely via the steps. Give it up one more time for our heroes. That was incredible. What a moment! I'd love to do it again, but it's time for the debate. Ladies and gentlefolk, we have someone incredible to start this off. Thank you so much. You've absolutely packed this place. I think we're all going to have a really exciting and invigorating time. So would you please welcome with warm applause a visionary founder who has staged debates at events like COP, Climate Week, and Davos. Would you please welcome with warm applause Sophie Lambin.
Thank you, Stuart, for this wonderful warm-up. It's great to see that this audience has been prepared for what's to come. and Stuart will be coming back later, so something to look forward to. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon debate by Debatable. This is the first debate that we're doing on the GreenBiz stage, and what a stage and an audience to do this debate with. And we are very, very honored. It's the second debate that I will have personally the pleasure of doing with Joel Macara, who will be joining me in a minute as my co-moderator. I would like to start by introducing myself, which I constantly forget to do. By introducing myself, I'm Sophie Lambin. I'm the founder and CEO of Kite Insights and also the curator of Debatable. But also, I would like by thanking Kate, John, Joel, and the whole Trellis group, and all the people who have been involved in making this event possible. And I'd like to thank you for your trust in jumping headfirst in this innovative, albeit ancient debate format. So today, it's a little experiment. We are going to mix provocation with a little bit of theatrics, seasoned by humility, humanity even, and most importantly, substance. However, you ultimately be the judge of that. And in order for this format to work, I'm really going to ask you to engage with the process, not quite like the debaters and the jury members who will soon join us on stage, but given the topic and the audience, we really need you to embrace the spirit of debate. And in doing so, I'm going to ask you to hold judgment until the end. And I promise you won't be disappointed. So a few words on the topic. After Joel's beautiful introduction, I think he said it all. But what I might want to just underscore for you is that this debate is not whether CSOs currently lead critical work in their organization or in their communities. Nor does it question whether companies have a critical role to play and a responsibility in driving sustainability forward. Our intent, in fact, is quite the opposite. Is to ask, when sustainability becomes so politically charged, when organizations start pulling back or going quiet, what happens to the leaders who are expected to keep it moving? This is a moment, as Joel alluded to, this is a moment to step back and to take a beat and reflect on these forces that are impacting sustainability leadership and its future, and to really ask ourselves, what is our responsibility as leaders to evolve? Now, it takes courage to surface uncomfortable questions, and this one is clearly very close to home. And yes, at the heart of this debate, there is a desire to use tensions productively, and also to inject a bit of humor, to give opposing sides a moment to breathe, to understand what really is at stake, and to sharpen a collective understanding and sense of the choices ahead. And you, the audience, you have a critical, most important part to play in this debate. In the grand tradition of ancient debate, whether the Greek agora, the Roman forums, of the Great Hall of medieval disputation, the crowd was never passive. You were never a passive observer. Your job, their job, was to cheer, to hiss, to stamp their feet even. So remember, the energy you're going to inject into this debate is nearly as important as the words of the debaters. Now, Stuart has done a great job in already warming you up. In talking of high energy, I would like to ask you to join me in please welcoming back to the stage my co-moderator, dear friends, co-founder and chairman of Trellis Group, Joel Macara.
Thank you, Sophie. Hello again, everyone. So how was your 20... Oh, wait, that's wrong. Sophie, it's always a great pleasure to be doing this with you again, and thank you for bringing this debatable to GreenBiz. We did this together in Dubai for COP20.
He was a debater then.
Huh?
You were a debater then.
I was a debater then, and we took the unlikely or the unliked side and won, not because of me, because of one particularly great member of my team.
You had Rachel Kite on your side.
And then last year at Climate Week, we did this talking about nature and biodiversity, nature and AI, which was an interesting topic. But yeah, just let me do a little more setting of the stage here. You know, first of all, I think some people I saw on social who saw we were doing this said, why are you doing this? Aren't CSOs in enough, struggling right now? And it's like, yeah, but, are we snowflakes? Come on, we can do this. We can endure this. But I will say this, that if we're not willing to question ourselves, this would worry me far more than sort of taking this on. And, if we're going to succeed in this crazy, often upside-down world that we're in, we have to be willing to ask tough questions and to question all the answers. So nothing's sacred except perhaps the air, water, biodiversity that we all need and are working to help survive and thrive. So, and by the way, I think it's important that this motion talks about CSOs, but it's really a proxy for sustainability professionals of all types. So if you are a CSO, or work for one, or want to be one, or dating one, or anything of that sort, this is for and about you. So, hearing this motion on the GreenBiz stage might sound counterintuitive, right? But we're here to confront what this moment really means for the future of our leadership. And we at Trellis have long prided ourselves in creating the conditions for all of you and all of us to have difficult conversations in a safe space. And you, our beloved community, have trusted us to host those conversations and have participated with great willingness and candor and passion. So it's in that light that we're going to be debating this topic. It's now been roughly a quarter of a century since the first CSO was appointed, Linda Fisher at Dow back in 2001. So the field is now a quarter century later in its 20s. It's in the beginning of adulthood, and like most of us when we were in our 20s, if I can remember that far back, it was a critical time of becoming, of figuring out who the heck we are or wanted to be. And if we're lucky as humans, we never stop trying to figure that out. We're always becoming. We're always trying to figure out who we are, our purpose, and our highest, best use. So enough with that metaphor. Let's get on with this.
Well, thank you, Joel, and well said. And I love what you said. We are not losing, we are learning because nothing is preordained. I think this will become the motto of this conference. So I think we should stop here because otherwise the debaters would have nothing else to debate.
Yeah, right.
But just so that we are all clear, that the essence of this debate is really whether the CSOs is becoming unnecessary or more necessary than ever. Also, I think we're trying to basically assess whether the role as currently structured and supported by organization is actually fit for purpose in this new era. So
shall we bring the debaters up?
Shall we bring the debaters up?
Come on up.
I think we should. Please, join me in welcoming the debaters to the stage. Big applause, please. That's more like it. Thank you. So, on the foresight, and just so that you get your mind around this, the foresight that CSOs are, or CSO is now relevant, we have Dr. Alexa White with, thank you, Michael Chen and Dylan Ziegler.
And arguing against the motion that we're not becoming outmoded and ready for the whatever heap, is starting, let's see, right here is Kelly Windsor-Fisher, HSBC. Bamashe Onabanjo from Elf Cosmetics. And Alexis Morgan.
Now, without losing any neutrality whatsoever, or losing any of our neutrality, I will temporarily taking allegiance for the for team.
And I'll be representing the against team. But before we get into this, we want to take the pulse of the room. So, because after our debaters speak, you are going to be to decide the winner by the very scientific method of clapping. So, we're going to do a plastic run. Do you want to do that?
Yes, so shall we take the temperature of the room? So, this is a pre-vote. This is, in fact, your first and only opportunity to express your opinion, because after that, as Joe said, you will be judging, after the jury will come on stage, judging the team that has done the best job. So this is important time to get a temperature of the room. If you agree with the motion that the CSO is now irrelevant, cheer and clap now. Don't be shy, don't be shy. We're not looking who is clapping.
I don't think they're shy.
No, it's, you know. You go ahead.
All right, and if you disagree with the motion that the CSO is now irrelevant, please clap and cheer.
Okay.
And is anyone undecided? All right. One of our CSO friends here is still trying to figure out what she wants to be if she grows up, but we'll get into that.
We have seen rooms being turned over more than once through the merit of the argumentation, so don't be discouraged. Things could change in your favor. Now, again, I just want to reiterate that I want it to be really clear and known that this motion is not a statement of truth, it is a provocation. And our debaters have bravely agreed to defend, bravely agreed, you can see the breath of anticipation from Michael. They have bravely agreed to take a position for the sake of the debate. And in doing so, they might very well argue beyond their own conviction. They might have to force slightly their side, actually whichever side they stand on, for the sake of the debate. And this requires a mix of creativity, intellectual agility, even empathy. So please, my ask of you is to express your appreciation and encourage them along the way. You can clap, you can whoop when they make a good point. This is authorized for this debate.
All right, so some house rules. There's no kicking and scratch. Oh, no, that's not right. So debaters are going to each have 3 minutes to speak. A member of the for team will speak, followed by a member of the against team. After you all have spoken, we're going to turn to our attention to the jury. Where is the jury? Oh, right down here.
Please clap for the
There's
jury.
Our jury.
Woohoo!
And the jury is going to then give some feedback to our debaters. Let's just introduce my old friend from way back, George Basile from that's you. Pamela Gill, I'm sorry, George is from Arizona State University. Pamela Gill Alabaster from Columbia University. And Ginger Sykes-Torres from Local First Arizona. The jury, though, this is odd. This is maybe a UK versus American thing. The jury actually doesn't decide who wins. The jury's job is to present challenges to the debaters. They're going to shine a light on what they liked, but also what they feel the debaters might have missed. So the debaters, you have to take good notes when they are giving their sage wisdom. Then the debaters will each confer among themselves before one member, or maybe two, but probably one member of the team you'll pick will return to the stage to deliver a final rebuttal This is where the gloves come off, but still no kicking or scratching and all that. And hopefully you will clinch victory. And by the way, and then all of you will vote by, again, virtue of clapping, or maybe we'll even bring out the app with the meter and all that stuff. By the way, the 2 times previous that I participated, either as a debater or as a co-moderator, the team that had the least applause when we did the pulse of the room, in both times won. So be open-minded, be ready to hear not for what you agree with or think should be the winner, but who made the best presentation.
Thank you for that clarification, Joel. That's very important. So are we ready to kick things off? Woo! Okay, we're going to be diving in. So on the far side, starting, we have Dr. Alexa White.
And on the against side, we have Kelly Windsor-Fisher.
Now, fun fact. As a child, Alexa dreamt of becoming the next crocodile hunter. She went on to study, that's going to be a hard one for me, she went on to study herpetology. And spent her early days chasing and occasionally catching lizards in the deserts. So if anyone here is cold-blooded, she'll spot you.
And Kelly can identify virtually any dog breed with 95% accuracy. And I guess we'll find out what your KPIs are and all of that. Today, she's here to doggedly sniff out weak arguments.
Nice. Nice.
All right. Okay, so we're going to set the clock at 3 minutes. We're going to wait for it to be set. Ready? Alexa, floor is yours.
My work lives at the intersection of policy, corporate power, and community harm. And I've learned the hard way that vision without authority is not strategy. So for today, emphasis on for today, the CSO is irrelevant. Not because sustainability doesn't matter, but because survival-led climate accountability must sit with the executives who control the capital, the risk, and the revenue. So modeled by finance, enforced by legal, and built by revenue. I'd like to walk you through 3 reasons why accountability always follows power. First, climate risk is a financial risk. I have watched sustainability teams bring real risk signals to leadership and then spend months translating them into finance language only to be told that their capital plan has already been locked. Predicting and adapting to climate disasters is inherently tied to financial exposure. So what does that really mean? Insurance volatility, asset impairment, supply chain disruption. Climate scenarios directly affect balance sheets, long-term valuation, and without the CFO, we cannot drive structural change. Second, climate fallout is a legal and regulatory risk. I've worked with regulators and advocates on chemical and climate accountability, and when governance is fragmented, response slows exactly when legal exposure accelerates. Climate change introduces really tangible legal liability, so think litigation, regulatory enforcement, fiduciary duty challenges. General counsel really has to treat the planetary limits as a structural regulatory framework. When climate governance is delegated to a CSO, legal accountability becomes fragmented. And last, climate transition is a commercial risk, and revenue leaders have to really own that. The levers of power inside companies are capital allocation, risk management, and revenue generation. Climate transitions reshape markets. Customers demand lower carbon products. Supply chains are being redesigned. As a scientist, my research training has taught me to distrust indicators, particularly those that look too precise but are disconnected to decision power. So here is the test for you. On Monday, please show me where your climate sits in 1, your capital plan, 2, your risk register, and 3, your revenue forecast. If it is not there or in any of those 3, then it is not owned. So again, modeled by finance, enforced by legal, built by revenue, accountability always follows power. Thank you.
Well done. Well done, Alexa.
All right, we reset the clock. Back to 3 minutes. Kelly, it's all yours.
Imagine I'm holding up an everyday item we would all recognize, a hammer. I think we'd all agree it's a pretty useful tool. Despite hundreds of years of new innovations in construction, we still use hammers to build our homes, to build our schools, to build the chairs you're sitting on. And now imagine that I've just told you the roof is about to cave in. Oh, and by the way, there's just a tiny nail holding it on. Before acting, some people might say, well, wait a minute, is the hammer really the right tool? Maybe we need a research report. Another person might say, but you're a woman, do you even know how to use a hammer? And yet another, and I think this is all very familiar to us, will probably say, roof's not going to cave in. I don't even think there is a roof. But I would argue that most of people in this room would just pick up that hammer and get the roof back on. So let's put this in non-carpenter terms. The business world's metaphorical roof is about to cave in from the weight of climate change. We know that strong sustainability strategies generate tangible business results and tackle those physical risks. But in 2025, public and private climate programs have been either scaled back or ended. The roof is about to cave in, and our opponents today will tell you that somehow the one person whose job it is to address all of that is irrelevant? So I ask you, is the CSO irrelevant, or have they not been given the proper tools to succeed? A 2022 report showed that globally, half of all CSOs are 2 or more levels below the C-suite. The hammer is being given to someone who's not even allowed on the ladder to reach the roof. Research indicates that over a third of businesses lack the funds to achieve their commitments. We can't afford a hammer right now. That's really useful. That's about as helpful as those first episodes of that show, Naked and Afraid, Go Build a House with Nothing. CSOs often have a wide purview with scope creep and must navigate 180-degree pivots. We're sustainability, but we're also philanthropy and comms and risk and regulatory affairs. With the roof about to cave in, these CSOs are being asked to go hang some curtains. But barriers are not a sign of irrelevance. They signal structural failure. Despite all of that, the CSO is more relevant than ever. We're not just climate scientists, we're experts in our business and sectors, and we created the strategies, and only we can see them through to success. Imagine a company that was, say that their chief legal counsel was going to go the way of the travel agent. If they were going through $1 billion litigation, would they say, no, we're going to go it alone, we're fine? I don't think so. So I leave you with a question. Did the roof cave in because of the hammer, or because of the failure of the people building the house to use it properly? Thank you.
Well done. That was a very, very confident first round. I think really well done. It's not easy to go first. But on the 4 sides, Alexa, I think you said that the CSO is becoming irrelevant because the model has become a bottleneck. For business to survive, sustainability must sit with executives who control capital, risk, and revenue.
And Kelly said on the against side that the CSO is more relevant than ever because when the roof is caving in, you don't throw out your tools, you use them.
Nice metaphor on the against side, I have to concede. Anyway, next up, we have Michael Chen coming to the stage.
And on the against side, we have Bamashe Onabanjo.
Nice gesture. So, fun fact. Michael, please take time to adjust your mic while I say your fun fact. Michael has run 10 full marathons, and apparently that wasn't exhausting enough. So he signed up for Berlin and New York next. Let's see if he sets the pace for today. And the timer is set.
I like it.
And Bamashe has a reputation of being something of a slow eater. Maybe that's where the slow movement came out of. Not from hesitation, but because out of curiosity for the flavor profile. So if dinner runs long, she's not running late, she's just conducting research. And now she's going to give us all something to chew on.
Absolutely.
All right, Michael, the timer is set, as I said. Good luck.
Thank you. 12 years ago, on Christmas morning, my grandpa sat next to me and said, "Michael, you are the last hope to make this world a better place." I also have to add an anecdote that I was his favorite grandchild. He gave me ESG articles year after year, sustainability reports. And he even gave me Clorox's sustainability report when I was 17 years old. I thought he was ludicrous. I thought this was just, a get-rich-quick scheme, fundraiser, etc. Didn't know what I wanted, really didn't know what he meant. I then jet set off to Thailand, where I then taught rural students abroad. That's when I realized that I had to make an impact and really drive it forwards. I was actually teaching sustainability in my classroom. I didn't need my director to be able to actually tell me I need to do that. I took the action and onus on myself. So this kind of translates directly to the role in business. That fundamentally, for the reasons why the CSO exists, which is to embed sustainability across the business, the need has never been more prevalent to share that responsibility through the entire organization in every role. I'll take it. Honestly, I'll take it. My first point, chief sustainability officers have gotten us here and created the conditions. But in perpetuity and in the future, it has to happen everywhere. My second point, sustainability comes realized when sustainability is relevant and being able to bring people across the business and bring them along the journey and speak that language for them. Third point, we need to be able to move faster and push even more harder than we ever have, and that's going to take a village. So how are we going to do this? So being able to implement this across the business. My current role at Okta, I'm currently a sustainability program manager for our workplace team. I sit under our real estate org, where I manage our entire portfolio of our buildings. I work with being able to procure renewable energy with our bundled recs, with our power purchase providers, being able to phase out refrigerants, being able to manage our operational waste, water reduction in our offices, and being able to deal with our landlords as suppliers and being able to engage them with green lease language. These are just a few examples how I'm fundamentally leaning on these teams who don't have sustainability in their title to be able to really drive sustainability forward. My second point, how we're going to be able to make sustainability relevant across the organization. Being able to bring our sales and marketing folks from a SaaS and being able to think about from a product perspective, that we need to think about what the customers are thinking about, and that being able to bring the sales folks on the journey with us so they're able to be able to articulate our sustainability program to them. And thirdly, we need to be able to move fast. And how we're going to do this? No one can drive a sustainable net zero target by 2030 alone. They need a whole village, myself included, to be able to drive that forward and being able to pull levers of influence with folks who don't have sustainability in their title. So in closing, I'm not just here to honor my grandpa's conviction. Fundamentally, we all need to try something new and fundamentally try to iterate and be scrappy. So for all the CSO in the rooms, please plug your ears for this entire argument and just ignore the fact that I might be interviewing with one day and I would love to be a CSO. But honestly, at the end of the day, yeah, I feel empowered to be able to drive this forward, and so sustainability needs to be able in all hands. Thank you.
Woo! Well done, Michael. It sounded a bit more like a sprint at the end, actually. You went a little bit over time, so I think we should pass that extra time to the next against.
All right, Bamashe, take it away. It's all yours.
In 2022, catastrophic floods submerged about a third of Pakistan, taking lives, displacing millions, and eroding cotton crops. An environmental disaster triggered a humanitarian crisis, causing people to lose their loved ones and disrupting supply chains for companies reliant on Pakistan for cotton crops. This is one of the many ways that sustainability has proven time and time that it is an existential risk. And existential risks must be overseen at the highest level within an organization. Hence, a case for the continued relevance of the Chief Sustainability Officer within the C-suite. Thank you. I agree with Michael. Not every company needs a CSO, but that does not support the conclusion that the role is irrelevant. The CSO role is emergent. It becomes relevant as a company's business and operation grows, supply chains become more complex, and stakeholders increase. In this case, the CSO serves as a compass and an accountability partner, strategizing with executive leadership in conversations where overall corporate direction and strategy is formed. This allows for an advocate, amplifying sustainability conversations in traditional business deliberations, because if sustainability considerations are introduced late, they become constraints, but when they are introduced early, they become strategy. You may ask why the role of the CSO is relevant. Just like Michael rightly argued, if the goal is to embed sustainability with people who don't have sustainability in their titles, I agree. However, time has proven that more data does not necessarily lead to action. Here, the CSO remains relevant as a coordinating force, setting strategy, KPIs, goals, and sequencing change, making sure that subject matter experts who don't have sustainability in their titles continue to embed sustainability considerations even as pressure mounts from their traditional, business goals and KPIs. Lastly, the Chief Sustainability Officer is a strategic counterweight. Because companies must deliver value to their shareholders and the performance is often incrementally tracked on a short-term basis, mostly quarterly, sustainability considerations run the risk of being put to the back burner because they take a longer term to materialize and they're more cumulative. The CSO becomes relevant in this instance to serve as a strategic counterweight, keeping longer-term risks in focus while also exploring efficiencies that can coexist within traditional business priorities. Thank you.
Well done, and right on cue. Fantastic second round. So, Michael, on the foresight, you are saying that the CSO, somehow reluctantly, is relevant because we are entering the implementation era. And you're saying a new generation of scrappy leaders at every level of the organization is taking the reign to execute the strategies from the ground up. Amen to that.
And on the against side, Bamachet said that the CSO remains relevant because they, all of you, are the compass we need more than ever to guide us through the existential sustainability risks, which are only becoming more complex and more urgent. Well done, Bamachet.
Great. So, final round, last but not least, Dylan Ziegler on the foresight.
And on the against side, we have Alexis Morgan.
All right, so Dylan, fun facts. Dylan is grieving, even though she's smiling. She's grieving the loss of her beloved 1988 Toyota Hilux, which once dramatically burst into flames on the side of a Texas interstate. Thankfully, she walked away unharmed, as you can tell, though we can't say that much about her truck, which did not. Dylan clearly can handle a little heat, which will come handy tonight.
And on the against side, we have, oops, sorry, I'm on the wrong thing here. We still have Alexis. Alexis helped discover, as a kid, a new species of beetle in northern Canada. So I guess it's not just John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Which means that while most of us were just in the playground, he was actually conducting and advancing science on TV.
Great. Dylan, 3 minutes. Good luck.
Thank you to my stellar teammates, esteemed competitors, our jurors, and our moderators. Fellow sustainability practitioners, it's time for us to live up to our potential as bold thinkers, agents of change, revolutionary voices. To do that, we need to transform how sustainability leadership shows up in our companies. In the early 2000s, when the Chief Sustainability Officer role emerged, sustainability needed to prove its legitimacy in corporations. Boardrooms were unfamiliar with the core tenets of sustainability. Centralizing the work under a C-suite leader made a lot of sense as a way for sustainability to join the adults' table. Companies with a CSO were at first considered the vanguard. CSOs achieved hard-won, meaningful wins. And over time, like worker safety or the 5-day work week, having a CSO became the norm in mainstream business. With normalization, the effectiveness of the CSO model began to break down. Having a CSO, once a radical act for a company, became routine, and its potential to disrupt business as usual was weakened. Our field exists to positively transform business from the inside. We're here to meaningfully confront the climate crisis. But I don't think any of us in this room believe that we're where we need to be today. We as sustainability practitioners pride ourselves on being creative, resourceful, nimble, yet we've calcified around the idea that a chief sustainability officer is the best way to drive change. It's time to apply our creativity and agility to how sustainability shows up inside corporations. I lead sustainability at UMG. At Universal Music Group, we have a relatively small carbon footprint and a huge influence platform. So I spend less time in the boardroom and more time implementing an internal consulting model. It applies a bespoke approach to opportunities in each segment of our business. My work with Lady Gaga or Abbey Road Studios will look very different from the sustainability work at Microsoft or Crocs or HSBC or Rivian. We must each align sustainability to our core business and make whatever the business case is in our own contexts. So why are we still attempting to structure sustainability leadership in the same way across such radically different companies? Uniform structure in a dynamic system is part of why we're falling short of our goals. If we're serious about decarbonizing our companies and building a more just, regenerative form of business, we must diversify our governance models. The question is no longer whether sustainability belongs in business. Of course it does. The question is whether we are bold enough to evolve how we lead.
Nice.
I think if we were voting on who has the coolest job in this room, but we're not. Alexis, take it away.
All right, well, I don't get to play with Lady Gaga, but I do get to do some other cool things. And maybe I'm just going to take the pulse of the room. How many of you in the room are CSOs? We've got a few, okay. And how many of you in the room would like to have their jobs? Few more? All right, well, let's make sure that by the end of this, you're feeling like there is a role for you. Now, I'm a water person. I'm an unabashed water nerd, and I hope there's a few other water nerds in here, and I'm counting on their votes, too, for later. But one of the things about being a water person is that water is one of those things that is everybody recognizes as super important and all the rest of it, and then everybody promptly proceeds to ignore because climate's the bigger thing at the table. And that's kind of the same sort of thing when it comes to sustainability and the chief sustainability officer. Now, to me, the role of the CSO has never been more important than today. We need CSOs as key people. They act as critical advocates first and foremost. We did a recent study with GlobeScan this past year, and we found above and beyond anything else, people want companies to step up and advocate on sustainability issues and on water issues in particular. So we need chief sustainability officers to play those kinds of roles. They need to be there for that. Secondly, we absolutely need them to be a coordinating function. It's great and fine, and our opponents here have sort of argued, look, let's integrate this into all the other functions and all the rest of it. And I say to you on that, if any of you were parents in the room, if you've said to your kids, hey, you know what, go do the laundry and go do this and go do that, and do they like knock it out of the park straight away? Like, no, they don't do it, in fact, most of the time. They need to be guided, they need to be chased often, and they need somebody to be there to support them in those functions. It's a critical function to be an integrator as a chief sustainability officer. And if you don't have that, what you end up with is the Spider-Man thing of like, hey, you, no, you, because you'll have all these other members of the C-suite looking at each other for sustainability otherwise, and that's not going to work. Thirdly, it's around talent attraction and retention. There was a study done last year that looked at about 8,600 different workers and found that 88% of those people were more motivated and more loyal to a company when sustainability performance was there. The Chief Sustainability Officer makes that happen. And lastly, it's critical for growth. Nobody in a company, I would argue, has as long-term a vision as a Chief Sustainability Officer. They are there to think about the opportunities of tomorrow, and Lord knows there are going to be some problems that need fixing. CSOs are there to find those opportunities and make that happen. So in conclusion, I would say a few different things. First, that we've really never had a greater need for a CSO than today. And at the end of the day, CSOs need to be at the C-suite table, in my opinion. Because, as my Prime Minister Mark Carney said a few days ago in Davos, if you're not at the table, all of us here in this room are on the menu. Thank you.
Well done, third round of debaters. So, Dylan, you challenge us to be bold and radical and to look candidly at the last 20 years and how the current CSO model has simply not delivered the transformation we need, therefore is becoming irrelevant.
First of all, I have to say that I don't think on any of your bingo cards that you would see both Lady Gaga and Spider-Man showing up in this debate. Alexis said that the CSO is increasingly indispensable because sustainability is a systemic challenge that requires both the role and the unique skills behind it to integrate action across the business, and that sustainability, like water, cannot be silenced. Siloed and silenced.
This is the side of the nice analogies.
Yeah.
Well done, both teams. Please join me in giving them a huge round of applause.
Nice.
This is not over yet, because now it's over the jury member, but not yet the judges. So please, first, join me in welcoming the judges to the stage. So we have George Basile, Pamela Jill Alabaster, and Ginger Sykes-Torres. Please. All right, jury members, let me remind you of your role. You are in the very enviable position of stirring things up a little. You heard what the debaters had to say, and now we want you to tell us what you love, because there is much to be loved on both sides of the argument, what you think might have been missing and some of the blind spots that you feel some of the debaters might have missed, and then what question might they want to answer for when they come for the final retort? Just that. You have up to 2.5 minutes. We're going to put the timer back at 2.5 minutes. And whoever wants to go first, I think Pamela, you said you wanted to go first? Please come at the front so that everyone can see you.
All of our plans laid.
Whichever you want. I will.
First, I want to thank both teams. This is exactly the kind of conversation we need to have about our profession. Let me start with the team arguing for the motion that the CSO role is irrelevant and that the model presents a bottleneck. You've suggested, and it's going to be hard because I can't keep turning around, that sustainability should be integrated with financial, legal, revenue-generating accountability at the core of decision-making where the power is centralized, and that it should belong to everyone. I think that was Michael's, not only embedded, but also belong to everyone. And I think that's a compelling vision, but I challenge you on 2 points. Decentralization without clear decision rights leads to ambiguity and non-ownership. When trade-offs arise, for example, between product gross margin or Scope 3 emissions reduction, or resilience versus quarterly earnings, who makes the call? Or if climate or plastic targets aren't met, who answers to the board? Is that the CFO or the general counsel? The point being is that if everybody owns sustainability, nobody owns sustainability. And while I agree that the sustainability expectations have evolved, the reality is that the decision rights haven't evolved with the expanded role requirements. And so If the role doesn't have a seat at the executive team, if the role doesn't contribute to enterprise strategy, if the role doesn't have capital allocation, it's not set up for success. Now, for the team arguing against the motion that the CSO remains essential, you've made a very strong case for complexity, coordination, and long-term orientation. I think for me, the pressure test is this is a design issue. It's not whether or not the CSO is irrelevant. It's whether the role is currently designed, has the authority to deliver on the required expectations. In 2024, only 56% of the G250 had a dedicated C-level sustainability leader. So the question is really whether the first generation design of the CSO role is outdated and how do we evolve it to meet the needs for the future.
Thank you, Ginger. Well done, Q. Maybe you want to keep the mic, Joe, so that you can, if you move your head. Yeah, you can use that, yeah.
Ready to rumble?
You go.
All right. So first of all, a round of applause for our debaters here. Come on. I mean, these people are awesome, right? So you just heard from Pamela some very, I think, central points to this. You gave us a little history lesson. I'm going to raise our heads up. We heard a bunch of, and I wrote these words down. We heard power and structure. We heard tools. We did not hear AI too much. We heard about change. We heard about leadership, strategy. Too many words, so I came up with my own. I think the fundamental role of a sustainability officer, I came up with an exterminator. Yeah, it all makes sense, right? I'm done. So the fundamental role of a CSO is to take the external and integrate it into the business, which is called externalization, right? The challenge with that is that means the CSO needs to know the world the way a CEO knows their company. And the challenge with that is that it also means that a CSO has to be inherently collaborative, right? That's a team sport. If you're going to take the outside and bring it in, you got to do it together, right? We heard about the need for power over here and the right structure. Do CSOs have the right power and structure to be able to bring the outside in, or is their implicit focus on their organization something that makes them bounded and constrained where they can't bring it in? Does that make sense? Right? Does that make sense? So that when I think we've run up against that today. I think we've run up against that today where we're seeing the bigger world. So here's my question to you guys given that. I want you to think a little bit more about innovation, right? When sustainability started, we innovated that whole space. Is today's CSO the right innovator? And the second thing I want you to think about is that collaboration piece. Are our CSOs set up to be the collaborators that we need? And if they're not, what should they be? Thanks.
Hi, everyone. Great job to both sides. We've heard a lot about kind of how internally this could affect operations at corporations. And I want to speak to how this might look externally. How would communities access sustainability professionals or folks that they want to reach that could really impact changes at the very local level? So, for example, which model will make everyday people's lives better, ensure that our communities thrive, ensure that small businesses in our communities, the backbone of our communities, continue to have a chance, and ensure that vulnerable communities are not put in a more precarious situation by corporate actions. I want to remind everyone that CSOs carry a really heavy weight. Their directions that they take with large companies affect our culture. It affects the ability of our elders. I am of the Navajo Nation, and it affects the ability of our elders and our future generations to access traditional plants on the Navajo Nation that may be disappearing from climate change. And that in turn affects the ability to pass down traditions and stories and relevance. And so to both teams, I want to ask, is sustainability, let's get beyond the emissions, the data, the KPI, the metrics, and think about how equity is ensuring that the solutions work for us, all of us, and how your model will ensure that vulnerable communities, including indigenous communities, rural communities that are often located very far away from city centers where many of all of us work and reside, how can they have a voice in the decisions that affect them? And how would each of your models affect the community's ability to either be impacted by the corporations in a positive or negative way, and also have the ability to have a voice in corporate governance? So that's my challenge to you all. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Pamela, George, and Ginger for great comments.
Thank you.
All right, so debaters, you heard what our jury has to say. Cut the thumb. You got it. You heard what they say, and it's now your opportunity to respond. Here's what's going to happen. You now have 5 minutes to huddle in your teams to prepare for their final rebuttal. This is your last chance to convince us and all of us and clinch victory. Now, audience, don't break out your phones, because we're going to, while they're conferring, figuring this stuff out, we're going to invite Stuart Goldsmith back to the stage to provide us some hot takes on what he's heard so far. Stu?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Joel. Hello, hello.
Get my mic.
Well done, everybody. Lots of passion there on both sides. Very exciting. Oh, they're leaving. I'm going to talk about them. I thought they'd be here. That takes me off the hook. We heard from Alexa, who said accountability always follows power. I don't know if she means it follows it around. We can only hope so. We can all agree with Kelly, who said the best thing to do is when CSOs are naked and afraid, we should arm them with a hammer. Marathon runner, and let's not forget favorite grandchild Michael, says the CSO built the roadmap, but the direction of travel is please employ Michael. Bamiche sees the CSO as a compass. Remember compasses? No? Something indispensable that no one cares about or talks about. Yeah. Dylan, of course, a bold thinker and an agent of change, and the only person who brought along a stand for her tablet. And Alexis doesn't get to play with Lady Gaga, but he does believe in superheroes like Spider-Man and Mark Carney. So they're going to huddle, and I've got a few minutes with you while they huddle, just to sort of reflect on some of the contradictions. One of them I'm living right now. Many of you will be thinking, what? This guy's a climate comedian. He's flown here from England. He's flown across the Atlantic to talk about the climate crisis. And that is a contradiction. It's bananas. But it's better, I think. It's better than flying across the Atlantic and not talking about the climate like you've probably done. Everything in climate is a contradiction. Everything I'm wearing is second-hand, but to get it, I had to kill a man. One of the big contradictions, Eden, if you're there, one of the big contradictions for me is that I decided, maybe you decided this as well, I decided no more new bad stuff. You know, I'm aware of all the things I do historically, all the technology, the comfort, the conveniences. I'm aware of all of the things, but I decided no more new bad stuff. And then AI came along, and I was like, what's that? Magic robot? You betcha. Virtual butler online, free therapy. Has anyone here used an AI chatbot for free therapy? It's incredible. Oh, magic robot, why do I cry? And we know, of course, we know that AI has a huge impact, a huge energy and water impact, but it can also help with climate solutions, according to itself. And I really think we're at the precipice of a moment, a big technological moment. And we've been at precipices like this before. It's fun to imagine looking back at this moment 20 years from now. The people who first discovered asbestos, they must have been like, this stuff's amazing, and hey, no downside. We still don't know. We still don't know what happens 20 years after you start vaping. Perhaps your personality grows back. We simply don't know. Now, here's a contradiction for you, and then we'll get back to the huddle and get back to the debate. The contradiction is simply this. I performed on Conan a few years ago. I was very excited. I performed this joke. It's a simple little joke. My family are really into communication. We taught our children baby sign language. We taught them baby sign language when they were little so that they can communicate. This is a real thing. They can communicate before they can even speak. You teach them a couple of simple signs that could save your life. They could say milk, biscuit, snipers, 3, on the roof, go, go, go. It could save your life. Now, I told that joke. We clipped it up. We put it on Instagram. It went viral. It was seen by 35 million people. So in many ways, I am now unaffordable for GreenBiz, but my loyalty to the cause is absolute. Now, I looked up on an AI chatbot. I said, tell me, please tell me. You've got to say please. It's important to be civil, just so that in case one day you might be spared. I said, please calculate the energy impact of those 35 million views. And it told me it was the same energy as it would take to power my house for 7.5 years. So really, I'm presented with a contradiction. If I want to be the most effective climate communicator that I can be, I've got to be significantly less successful. And guys, I'm doing my best. Now, before we, thank you. Please, if you do see this material, if you see it on the live stream or on Instagram or, God forbid, LinkedIn, please don't like, subscribe, and share it more than a handful of times. Now, we did ask, and let's see the figures here, we can see up on the screens, we did ask the Trellis briefing. It's not just for the people in this room, it's for the people at home as well. Everyone in the Trellis briefing, we canvassed them earlier today. We said, is the CSO irrelevant? And they answered. We got some great answers from them. Well, let's look at the answers. We saw the results are in. 75% of CSOs said that they were not irrelevant. Although it is worth noting, as the team dug into the results, we noticed a few people who responded yes to this question had actually answered it wrong and thought they were saying that the CSO is still relevant. So there's a bit of wriggle room in these numbers. Thank you very much for listening to me. I shall return you to the debate. It's been a great joy to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stuart. That was great. The world will run much more smoothly if you had a bit more of that kind of humor in a discussion, particularly at COP, right?
Not that this is funny stuff, but we have to have a good time, right? This has to be, we have to bring humor into all this and make this a little bit light because it can be otherwise ponderous. But this is incredibly, I find it amazing and exciting. And so we're going to do the rebuttals now. And this time, the against team is going to go first. And Kelly, you're going to speak with them. You got 1 minute and a half, 90
seconds to seal the deal.
Join here. We're going to set the clock at 1.5 minutes.
Well, I'll start.
Wait a sec. We need 1.5 minutes on the timer.
We can set the timer, please.
Here we go.
There we go. Kelly.
Well, I don't need 1.5 minutes. Apparently, according to them, climate change for businesses is solved and we're done and we can all go home, right? Bye. Bye, everybody. I'm going to go home and be with my daughter. Bye. No, right? Does anyone believe that they just presented a model for how our businesses are going to effectively tackle climate change? Does anyone believe their business has now integrated it so well that no one has to look after all those people who have it as a fraction of their job? So again, I started talking about a hammer, let's think about a house. If I told you, I'm so excited, I'm gonna build a new house for my family to live in, but I decided to give a different room to a bunch of different people, right? My aunt is gonna build the living room. I think my grandma's gonna put on the porch. I have a friend of a friend who says they're great at kitchens, and we're all just gonna figure it out, right? And hope it comes together as a solid house. Would you all be a little worried about me? I heard no example for how the control of a decentralized model is going to work from the opposing team. I think it's a lovely vision. We've all said, I've been doing this work for 23 years, we've all said we're doing this to put ourselves out of a job. The past year proved that we are not there yet. And I would actually say we took some steps backwards, a lot of us, not everyone. And so I ask you, did they present a model for where we can trust that legal will have one objective, comms will have one objective, everyone will have a little piece of it, and no one will look after them? I don't think so. And what I'll tell you is, at least in my company, when an objective is set for someone like that, the CSO does it. They set it at the start of the year, and they track the progress at the end of the year.
All right. Thank you, Kelly.
Good one. I told you the gloves will start to come off at this stage, and now we have the 4 team who's got their final retorts. The timer is set. You take it away.
We believe sustainability is necessary for business. We believe that the CSO is potentially not fit for purpose in the context that we find ourselves in today. As the field has evolved, what we've found is that the sustainability officer is serving too many masters. We started out as innovators with a clear purpose, and we've ended up being stretched so thin to create change for the elders of the community, for the internal stakeholders, for the climate itself, for our employees, for our customers, that we really need to think hard about whether one person across the entire strategy is the way to do this. The structure is not fit for purpose. Innovation is the key to change. If we double down and create a situation where we are stuck in our own ways, we are going to fail. We have so much in front of us that we need everyone to help us succeed.
Well done, well done. So, the moment of truth is coming. I remind you that those debaters obviously took a position for the sake of the debate, going beyond their own argument, and what we're asking you to vote on is on how compelling the argumentation have been, for your benefit, the audience. We also ask you to hold on to your own opinion, and at this stage really start judging the merit of the arguments on each side of the debate. So, if you think that the 4 team, which argued for the motion that the CSO is now irrelevant, has put up the best debate, clap now. Come on!
And if you think that the against team saying that CSO is not irrelevant. Right?
No. If that team put up the best debate.
Wait.
Not their opinion, remember.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Of course. We should have done rehearsal.
I just want to be fair.
No, you're right. That the 4 team, or the against team, put up the best argument, made the most compelling case. Please clap right now.
Do we have a winner?
I think it's not even close, Sophie. I think we
know. Joel was really looking forward to pull out his clapometer app, so he's going to be very disappointed that there's not even a close call that we need to pull out technology to call this one out. But I do think that both teams did an amazing job putting this argument forth. So do you agree with that?
Yeah. I hope we did what we set out to do, which is to give each and every one of you a glimpse of what the 2 sides are, how to think about this going forward, maybe in your own job, your own companies, your own career, perhaps. But let's again, we have this incredible the debaters, our jury here. Let's give them one more round of applause. And a big round of applause for Sophie for bringing this incredible experience to us.
And to you, Joel and the Trellis Group for creating a space for such a debate today with an audience of CEO sustainability leaders, which is obviously not the easiest thing for this team to achieve. But I really want to say at this point you have noticed that who wins the debate is somehow secondary to the exercise. It's really about exploring those tensions in a way that feels productive and constructive. So I think both teams should hug it out, first of all.
Yeah. Nice.
And then...
Yeah. And now we're going to end this part of the program. And this is the part where, yes, the adult beverages do come out. As you head out the door, you'll be pointed in the direction of the reception.
I think Katie is going to do a last announcement.
Let's bring
but
Katie
please.
back for that. Yeah, Katie. Sorry.
I don't have different directions for you. You just go outside and continue the conversation. I'm so glad you guys were here. What a fantastic group of people. You guys, the prep they put into this, like so much, so much. You guys were great. Yes, and now let's head out to that reception and continue the conversations and connections. We'll see you back tomorrow. Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to the GreenBiz live stream. I hope you enjoyed that keynote as much as I did. What a conversation. And few the sustainability team or for sustainability did win. I wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be there, but clearly in a room full of sustainability professionals, we all believe that the role should continue on. I'm sitting here with co-founder of Watershed, Taylor Francis. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here on GreenBiz Day 1.
Yeah, the energy is great. So much good conversation already, and I'm excited to dive in with you and being the co-founder of Watershed, working with corporate sustainability professionals, especially at like the verge of tech and AI and how the role's evolving. What stood out to you about today's debate format?
Well, I think the fact we're having this conversation shows that this is a community that is introspective, that's reflective. That's not a surprise. I think it shows that we're all thinking about what are the roles of our teams at this moment where it's not enough to just be about press and brand. It's not enough to just be about compliance. I think we are in this era of sustainability's got to deliver the numbers. It's got to deliver the ROI. It's got to deliver the dollars and cents. I think the right team won. We're lucky to work with 800 companies, 20% of the Fortune 500. I think sustainability teams and CSOs are heroes. I think they're thinking about how do they be drivers of the business. One thing I didn't hear as much about that I think is important is this new model of a CSO who also owns a revenue number. If your business has some component of a green business, I've seen those companies be really successful.
Right.
That's not true for every business, but that is just a way to bring this from kind of periphery to really driving the top line in a real way.
Right.
But this role matters a lot.
Definitely. I mean, it's an interesting point, the revenue. Obviously, that gets the ear of the CEO.
Totally.
And that's super important. And what stood out to me, what Dylan said on the stage, is that different companies, Universal Music Group is different than HSBC, how you approach sustainability. So it totally varies.
Totally.
I do want to get into AI with you.
Yeah.
I know Watershed has implemented AI as part of its product and rollout. Tell us just quickly what the AI component is, and then I want to jump into how you think this will change the role of sustainability teams.
I mean, we think that in many ways our mission is to bring the superpowers of AI to the work that matters most in the world, which is climate and sustainability. And that is easier said than done, right? It's easy to go into ChatGPT or Claude and have an amazing experience. It's hard to do something that meets the bar of a Fortune 500 company on regulated disclosure on the most important problem in the world.
Right.
So we are both automating the busy work of data and reporting and trying to enable companies to do things that weren't possible before on things like unpack the scope 3 of any product in minutes. And hopefully a lot more like that. So I think we are just at the very beginning, but I think that it takes thoughtfulness from sustainability teams to pick one or two use cases, get it right, and there's a lot that's possible.
Right. And it's cutting down the kind of arduous parts of sustainability teams, which is gathering the data, analyzing it, disclosing it.
Totally.
And so how do you think AI will change the role of the CSO going forward, or just sustainability professionals?
I mean, hopefully it can get teams out of the business of paperwork, which you described is way too much of this profession that is all about driving massive impact. But I also I think if all AI does is save a bit of time on the reporting so that we can report more efficiently, that to me would not be worth building all these massive data centers. I think the prize needs to be higher. It needs to be, how can we move faster on decarb? And so we're thinking a lot about scope 3. We're thinking a lot about product footprints and materials and supply chains, and how do you get to the insight that used to take 6 months in a few minutes? How can you focus your efforts in the right areas? But I think I think we should be thinking about what are the grand challenges of climate and sustainability that we as a profession have been struggling with for years.
Right.
And how can AI help to solve those grand challenges?
Yeah, it kind of opens bandwidth for more strategy and hopefully implementation. Have you seen, I mean, obviously the rollout's pretty recent, but have you seen companies with tangible results by opening up the bandwidth? Can you give an example?
We were on stage at Climate Week with a major automaker, with a major healthcare company, and with a major consumer brand, all of whom were integrating kind of insights on what are the key reduction levers in my product and my supply chain into how they design their products, how they run procurement, and how they communicate those results to their customers. And I'm super excited. I think that the pace and the velocity on this, which you're seeing in coding, you're seeing in legal, you're seeing in all these professions, I think it's coming for sustainability in a big way.
So exciting. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Taylor. And stay right there. We have more interviews coming your way. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
CNOT is the easiest way for companies of all sizes to purchase a portfolio of high-integrity carbon credits. Join other leaders in offsetting your emissions with highly rated carbon reduction and removal credits, all in a matter of minutes. Let CNOT do the hard work for you.
At Suntory Global Spirits, everything we do starts with deep respect and admiration for nature. Water as the basis for crafting our incredible premium spirits. Crops for ingredients, wood for our barrels. Nature is our most precious ingredient, and we're working hard to protect it. We're reducing water used in operations, moving toward net zero carbon emissions throughout our business, implementing regenerative agricultural practices, and reducing our packaging footprint and waste. We're protecting and nurturing the natural resources at the heart of what we do, so we can keep doing it for generations. And all that we're doing is proof positive we are building a more sustainable future.
Welcome back to the live stream. I am sitting with Cam Westfall from Amazon. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah. And for the rest of the interviews from today and tomorrow, we're going to be covering innovation for sustainability as a theme, unpacking, deploying different innovations across partnerships and technologies. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm really excited for these conversations. So speaking of, Cam, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So you lead Amazon's sustainable shopping experience, which helps customers make more informed purchasing decisions. First, tell us a little bit about this experience and your journey with.
Yeah, sure. Happy to. So I lead the Climate Pledge Friendly program. It's Amazon's flagship sustainable shopping program. And we highlight products that are that have sustainability features, and so those products have one of 60 sustainability certifications that we have mapped to 14 different sustainability features that take certifications and sort of translate it into a nice common language for customers. And then we surface that all throughout the Amazon customer experience so that customers can find these more sustainable products and shop for them.
That's great. Can you give us some examples of what these, you said 60 different?
Yeah, 60 different certifications that map to about 14 different sustainability features. So, for example, like Cradle to Cradle is one of our certifications, or EWG Verified is another one of our certifications, and like EWG will map to our Safer Chemicals feature. And so it takes what the certification is known for and is kind of certifying the product to do, and translates that into common language for customers.
That's great. And so they can see through the shopping experience.
Yeah, so we have about 22 different features on the website, from badges that are next to the product details. We have sustainability zones on our product detail pages that surface the information, the certifications, and allow customers to dive deeper. And then we have product recommendations throughout the site that surfaces these products with sustainability features to customers as they're going throughout their shopping journey.
That's fantastic. Are you seeing any noticeable consumer behavior shifts because of these certifications? Can you speak to that?
Yeah. So we published some of these in our 2024 sustainability report, but we've seen 144 million customers switch to these products with sustainability features since we launched the program. And that is really starting to translate into lift for our brand. So we work with a ton of different selling partners that bring these more sustainable products to market, and we are trying to surface them to these customers.
Right.
Brands who get qualified for Climate Pledge Friendly see an average of a 12% sales lift within the first year of the program being, within the first year of joining the program.
Wow.
And
that's significant.
Yeah, and so that's in a peer-reviewed journal. It's also been published by the Harvard Business Review. And so two great studies that kind of show the impact that a brand can have when they focus on sustainability as an input for their business.
Right. Consumers want it.
Consumers want it.
Clearly. What's your advice for brands on how Climate Pledge Friendly could accelerate their sustainability impact?
Yeah, so I would say my advice for brands right now on how to accelerate is to think through, so first off, we've built the program in such a way to where when you qualify for sustainability features through our certifications that are within the program, Amazon itself kind of surfaces those appropriately to customers, and therefore it helps to accelerate the business. And the thing that I would say to go on top of that is to really think through how some of these new shopping experiences that are launching kind of throughout, not even just on Amazon, but these more agentic shopping experiences with AI kind of at the center.
Right.
Thinking about how your information that you have as a brand can get surfaced appropriately to customers, because at the end of the day, these agents are going to be doing a lot of the communication work, and so the more content that you can feed these agents, the better off you'll be at positioning sustainability to the forefront of these customers.
That makes a lot of sense. I do want to get one last question. We have about in a short answer, what would you say, what excites you the most about the future of sustainable shopping in this kind of way?
Yeah, so one of the really fun features that we have that I've been really excited about is our customer value. And so when you go on Amazon.com, you go to some of the orders pages, you can see how many sustainable purchases that you've made or sustainable choices that you've made from products to shipping. And it's a great way to see how you are impacting as a customer.
It's phenomenal. Well, I'm excited to check this out online. I hope you are too. Cam, thanks so much for being with us
Awesome.
today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
All right.
Progress emerges when science meets complexity. When the world asks hard questions, one truth endures. Evidence strengthens outcomes. At RTI, we turn evidence into action. Advancing health and nutrition, supporting teachers and caregivers, building ethical AI, helping communities become more resilient. Every solution is grounded in science, shaped by lived experience, and built for the real world. This is the progress science makes possible.
All right, welcome back to the live stream. I'm sitting with Gabby Wilkerson-Melnick from Mill. Gabby, it's so good to have you here.
So stoked to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, excited to learn more about what Mill's up to. For those who aren't familiar with Mill, it's a consumer technology company focused on reducing household food waste. And Mill's recently released a new product called Mill Commercial with some AI components. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that product?
Yeah, we announced in December Mill Commercial, which is a large food recycler that basically you can put your food scraps into back of house kitchens. And we basically transform that, dehydrate it, and turn it into what we call food grounds. And so essentially what we're doing is dehydrating food scraps and now creating a useful output that can be going into compost or chicken feed or fertilizer. And so we're taking that same technology that we brought to households across the US and then scaling it up to a commercial environment. Yeah. And what we're really excited about is we're actually doing this. We announced our first customer was Whole Foods and Amazon, and so
congrats.
Thank you. It's been awesome. We announced it in December, and we've just been absolutely flooded by inbound. Whole Foods is going to be rolling us out nationally to all their grocery stores across the country, so it's pretty exciting.
That's super exciting. This is commercial, so you're with Whole Foods, a grocery store. Are there plans for other commercial entities as well?
Yeah, you can think about anywhere where there is food waste, Mill Commercial could live. So back of house kitchens, cafeterias, universities, corporate dining. There's a whole host of places that Mill can fit in. And what's great about this device is it's going to be really kind of designed for that kitchen environment. And so it can fit tightly into a host of different places. And so that's really what folks are excited about.
That's awesome. That's super exciting. I know there's obviously, unfortunately, so much food waste in grocery stores and restaurants. So anyway, this is very exciting. I'm curious, obviously, Mill started by building for households, which is a really challenging market. Now you're going towards businesses. How did that experience of approaching households kind of shape the way you approach commercial customers now?
It's a great question. Households are really, really tough because you get one shot to get it right. So if you are living in someone's kitchen and it's smelly or there's, it's a bad experience, that's your one shot. And so we needed to make sure that if we could build it in a household, it would be perfect in a commercial environment as well. I don't know if you know how Mill was founded in our story, but we were co-founded by a guy named Matt Rogers who actually worked on the first few iPhones. He then left to go start Nest, the smart thermostat company. And so all of that's to say this is a team that knows how to build awesome, delightful hardware that really drives behavior change. And oftentimes people don't put delightful and food waste together, but that's really what Mill's after. And so we're taking that same sort of design ethos and kind of user-centric approach to ensure that this is going to be a great experience for frontline workers. Because we know if the frontline worker doesn't have a great experience, it's not going to get adopted.
Absolutely. I'm curious too, I mean, like creating a delightful experience for hardware is hard, and like convincing customers of the value can be challenging as well. So when you're talking to, especially for the Mill Commercial product, if you could speak to that, can you speak to like a moment when the conversation really clicks with the customer, where they just start to get it?
Yeah. I'm here, obviously, because I love the sustainability and circularity story that's attached to this. But really, where it clicks is the economic story. So this device has incredible IRRs, great payback periods. And folks, when we get into the economics and they realize, like, wow, this is going to save me so much money on hauling and labor. And by the way, now I'm actually doing something that's better for the planet. It's just sort of one of these win-win-wins. And so that's something we're really excited about.
That's incredible. I mean, it's kind of in line with the way the sustainability business case is shifting, right? It's like, what's the business case? What's the cost-cutting measure? How are you saving money? So that's powerful. I want to, for other sustainability leaders who might work in innovation teams or adjacent to, curious if you have any advice about bringing an innovative product to market. What would you share about your experience?
So we ever since we started Mill, folks have always said, when are you going to build a big one? When are you going to build a big one? And what we didn't want to do is just build a product and then bring it to market without getting real feedback from the market itself. And so we're really excited to be doing this in partnership with Whole Foods as our first customer.
Yeah.
And so my advice to other folks in this space is, if you can design something in partnership with your end customer so that there's mutually folks are bought in along the way, that's a great way to bring a new product to market.
Phenomenal. Well, congratulations on releasing Mill Commercial. And yeah, you just heard from Gabby at Mill. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
CNOT is the easiest way for companies of all sizes to purchase a portfolio of high-integrity carbon credits. Join other leaders in offsetting your emissions with highly rated carbon reduction and removal credits, all in a matter of minutes. Let CNOT do the hard work for you.
At Suntory Global Spirits, everything we do starts with deep respect and admiration for nature. Water as the basis for crafting our incredible premium spirits. Crops for ingredients, wood for our barrels. Nature is our most precious ingredient, and we're working hard to protect it. We're reducing water used in operations, moving toward net zero carbon emissions throughout our business, implementing regenerative agricultural practices, and reducing our packaging footprint and waste. We're protecting and nurturing the natural resources at the heart of what we do, so we can keep doing it for generations. And all that we're doing is proof positive we are building a more sustainable future.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here with leaders who are focused on turning climate goals into real action. Events like GreenBiz matter because no single company solves this alone. Progress happens when we share what works, raise standards together, and help more organizations participate. At Amazon, we see climate action as both a responsibility and a chance to build better solutions for customers, communities, and the planet. Today, I want to talk about how companies can move faster on decarbonization, the role high-quality carbon credits play in long-term strategies, and the progress we are making through the Amazon Sustainability Exchange and our carbon credit service. Climate science tells us we must reduce emissions across our own operations and value chains. At the same time, we must rapidly invest in climate solutions that go beyond our operations. To help with the first part, we launched the Sustainability Exchange in 2024 to democratize access to playbooks, case studies, and other tools. High-quality carbon credits help close the second gap. They direct private capital to projects that reduce or remove emissions, protect and restore nature, and address carbon emissions. They help grow solutions that are ready to scale, but need consistent, long-term demand from companies. At Amazon, we view credits as a complement to our decarbonization, not a substitute for it. Our priority is reducing our emissions through areas like carbon-free energy, electrifying transportation, and improving efficiency across our operations. That work is central to our climate pledge commitment to reach net zero carbon by 2040. Our approach to carbon credits is grounded in integrity, transparency, and scale. Integrity matters. We focus on credits that are measurable, verified, and designed to deliver real and lasting climate benefits. We look closely at how projects are structured, how outcomes are tracked, and how risks are managed over time. We also see credits as a way to help scale important parts of the climate solution set that are not fully supported by existing markets or policy. That includes nature-based solutions, emerging carbon removal approaches, and projects that target high-impact emissions. We believe collaboration is critical. Carbon markets only mature if companies, project developers, standards bodies, and others work together to build trust and raise the bar. Sharing resources and lessons help other organizations participate with confidence. Companies also have a responsibility to be transparent about how credits fit into their broader climate strategy. Credits should be used alongside clear progress on direct emissions reductions. This perspective shaped how we designed the resources we now offer to others. We launched the carbon credit service through the Sustainability Exchange because we heard a consistent need from companies across industries. Many wanted to take action with access to high-quality credits, but the carbon market can be complex and difficult to navigate. Our goal is to deliver barriers. The service is designed to connect customers with thoroughly vetted, high-quality credits that meet strong standards and can drive meaningful climate impact. We want to make sure everyone has access to clearer information about how different types of credits can support a science-aligned decarbonization path. The broader Amazon Sustainability Exchange shares practical resources and guidance so organizations of different sizes and stages can move forward with confidence. Since launch, we have expanded both the exchange and the carbon credit service with more resources and guidance to help organizations. Our carbon credit service now includes refrigerant credits, and customers are already purchasing them. These projects address some of the most powerful greenhouse gases. We also offer sustainable fuel credits, including low-carbon fuel options, to support emissions reductions in transportation and logistics, as well as maritime credits. For companies using credits as part of a decarbonization strategy, 3 lessons stand out. First, start with reducing your own emissions. Credits work best when they address emissions that remain after meaningful internal action. Second, focus on quality and transparency. Understand that each credit represents how it is measured and how risks are managed over time. Lastly, think about your role in scaling solutions. Consistent, long-term demand from companies helps strengthen high-quality climate projects. The choices we make matter. They shape which climate solutions grow and how quickly we can move from ambition to impact. At Amazon, we are committed to learning, sharing, and working alongside others to raise standards and expand access to credible climate solutions. If we combine deep decarbonization and thoughtful use of high-quality carbon credits, we can accelerate progress well beyond our own walls. Thank you for your leadership that you bring to this work and for the collaboration that makes progress possible.
Progress emerges when science meets complexity. When the world asks hard questions, one truth endures. Evidence strengthens outcomes. At RTI, we turn evidence into action. Advancing health and nutrition, supporting teachers and caregivers, building ethical AI, helping communities become more resilient. Every solution is grounded in science, shaped by lived experience, and built for the real world. This is the progress science makes possible.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GreenBiz 26 live stream. I hope you enjoyed today's content. I encourage you from all the interviews today, and especially the debate, to reflect on what maybe surprised you, what did you agree with, what did you disagree with. All these conversations today, and especially the debate, are, the point really is to sit with the tension of what's relevant, what's not anymore, so we can sharpen our critical thinking skills, our communication, ultimately our strategies to affect change within our organizations. So tomorrow we have a number of more really great interviews for you, including the keynote, of course, but we'll be bringing you action before the keynote and after with more interviews around the theme of innovation for sustainability. So thank you so much for joining us today. My name's Jake Mitchell with Trellis Group, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.